So I vividly remember this abduction where I was taken, and I remember being asleep, and next thing I know, I heard like the back door opening. We had a back area, and then there was a back door connecting kind of to like the outside back door, and there was kind of like a room there, and whichever. So I remember like these people came in, they had flashlights, and I could tell that this was like, you know, the government, something government group or whatever, something involved definitely with the aliens. And I remember seeing John, and I was like, oh, whoa, and he was standing there, and the next thing I know, he like put a shot right in my arm into my wrist area, and the next thing I know, I was drugged. Like, I felt really drugged, and I was kind of still aware of what was going on, but I was really drugged. And I remember during these abductions, like, the way that they could do things were almost like a magical kind of way or something. Like, basically, he was able to open the window and like levitate me out of the window, and they were able to like levitate me all the way kind of to this car, this black van that was in the street. I remember being thrown in the back of this black van, and I couldn't move or remember like know anything that was going on. I just remember falling asleep. Once I got into this van, and yeah, I knocked out, I guess, and didn't really know exactly what was going on. I remember I was like in shock. I remember everything going black. And then I remember waking up, and I was in this room, like a warehouse kind of a room, like a big warehouse. It was like a huge one. And that was after I noticed water splashed all over me, like all over my body. And I was so shocked. I was like, oh my God. And then I noticed, like, when I was looking out, there was like this whole floor of like these very angry looking men. And I noticed that my arms were tied up onto rope, and I was naked, and I looked at John, and he had that bucket in his hand. He threw the water or whatever, and I looked at these people look really, really angry, and there was a woman standing next to him, and she had like this reddish hair, like red hair or whatever, and she was the same woman that was there during the childbirth, when I had a child, and she was supposed to take my kid, I guess, and because she couldn't have kids herself, I guess, or something like that. And so I remember she had a very angry look to her face too. And I remember John began to yell, and he began to say that I was a spy. And I told him I wasn't. It's like, how am I going to be a spy? Like, are you serious? Are you kidding me? I had like no idea what he was talking about. I'm like, what the heck? So he began starting to like slap me in the face, pull my hair, and then he began to like punch me in the stomach and like attack me. And I'm just like, what the hell's going on here? Like, I didn't even understand. I just was like in shock and scared and like in pain, and like I'm like, whoa. So he like started to then take a whip and hit me with a whip in like my back area. And then I remember like he came around and started like kissing me and stuff. Like, I don't know if this was some kind of sexual sadist fantasy or something or whatever, but it just was really, really bad and ridiculous. Then I remember like this woman like tases me, and the next thing I know, I passed out, and I could kind of remember her beginning to do things to me, like go down on me or something at that time. Like, she started to do that, and I remember being unconscious. And I remember after that, I woke up in this room, and it was really dark, and I was on this table. Then I remember this door slamming open, and then the room got light and everything. And I remember it being John coming in through the door, and he was with all these men, these group of men or whatever, and I was like, whoa. And I remember this one guy named Mike, and I remember this Mike guy was the same doctor that treated me in Torrance. There was this hospital in Torrance called St. Mary's Medical Center, and he was there, and I came in with anemia symptoms because of my bleeding from these childbirths, and I was laughed at by the doctors. I was treated like a joke, typical gang stalking crap. I was made fun of by these doctors and nurses. Like, it just was sick. Like, I was sitting there with chest pain, all the symptoms of anemia, feeling sick, and I was treated like an animal. And I remembered him, and they had told me I had a heart murmur though, but they didn't do anything or anything. It just was ridiculous. So I thought, whoa, like, here's this group of men that are demons, and I thought, okay, this is crazy. So next thing I know, they all started trying to rape me and hold me down and stuff like that. And then I remember John telling me I needed to disassociate like I did when I was a kid, when I had gotten molested, to get away. And I thought, okay, this is really weird. This must be some kind of psychological experiment or something. So I ended up like putting my mind in a different place or something like that. And then I remember being able to like get out of there really quick before they started raping me or something like that. So I remember next thing I know, I ended up in this place, and there was this man from India, and I was being shown like many images of people from India, and we were like trying to stop crime in India or something. Like it was some kind of mission or something like that, I guess. And then I remember I was scared, and I called out to God, and I remember the reptile guy was saying that if I called out to God, I'd end up in a bad place, like end up in hell basically or something like that. And I still kept calling out to God. And the next thing I know, I ended up in this place, and it was like a hellish kind of place. Okay, it was this dark underground place, and then it had all red lighting, like there was like fire around and kind of thing, and seemed like that. So next thing I know, there was an African man there, and he was dancing. He was in like African garb, like tribal garb and stuff, and he had like a rain shaker like in his hand, and he was dancing with the rain shaker. And looking at him, I looked at him and I realized, oh whoa, like that guy, he looks similar to this guy named David that my mom had ended up dating, this guy named David. And I thought, whoa, that's so weird. So next thing I know, I thought like, oh, okay, maybe I'm in an okay place here or something like that. I got away from wherever I was, and I thought, oh wow, is this an okay place? I'm not sure. But next thing I know, they both started trying to rape me. And then next thing I know, I ended up getting taken away from there before that could happen or something like that. Like I was moved to a different area real quick or something. And yeah, it was so weird. I remember next thing I know, I was laid down in a room, and this is when they began to do like these experiments and implant me, and it was like an extremely painful torture. I remember having something put into the middle of my head, like some kind of needle or something, and when I woke up, I had this point, this little circle, like a red dot from whatever they did there. And I remember this guy just looked so crazed. It appeared to be John, but it's like his whole face distorted into like a alien kind of a form or something. Like his eyes were crazed. Like he looked loony. Like I can't even explain it. It was almost like a cartoon. Like his face just looked crazy while he was doing all of these things to me. All of these like, I don't know if it was like a MK Ultra type of thing, but I had something wrapped around my head. I had like screws tightened around, and like different things done to my brain he was doing to me. And my stomach, like he did something to my stomach, like touched an area of my stomach, and which was like my liver area, and I don't know if he put something in there, but I had things just put all over my body. I remember he like did something to my eye, like there was like a needle like coming towards my eye, and it didn't touch my eye, but I guess that this needle was something that he was putting so that he could always be able to see out of my eye when I'm on earth, because he was extremely possessive of me and did not want me to talk to anybody or have friends. Like basically I was having all of these tracking things put onto me, and it was just so crazy. I couldn't even believe what was going on. The next thing I know, I remember him putting some kind of like brain cap on me, like a brain cap thing. And the next thing I know, I ended up in some kind of like a virtual reality kind of world, but everything seemed real. Like it was nothing like a video game. Like it was like a real stimulation, and I thought I was like completely somewhere else. So I remember being in a forest with my mom and my sister, and I remember next thing you know, I remember seeing this one girl from the Cinemark job, and she had like a big gun, like a rifle, like rifles and everything. And I remember these guys that looked to be like Middle Eastern or something like that. They all had large guns too, and they were chasing us all like through the forest or whatever. And I remember my mom got shot, and I ran back to check on her. And then I remember right then and there, I remember hearing him yelling, and the next thing I know, I could feel my brain being electrocuted like a shock treatment, like really painful. I was being extremely tortured. I guess he said that I did something wrong or something through the stimulation or whatever. And I was like, okay. So I guess I did it again, something wrong. Like I just kept running up the hill, the next stimulation, instead of stopping back to get my mom when she died. And somehow he said I did something wrong again. So then he started electrocuting me again. And I didn't understand what was going on, but I guess it was some kind of mental stimulation exercise for some kind of end game or end times or something like that. of like I don't know, it was just crazy. It was like I was like running up this mountain lake and we were all in the forest. It was just so strange. But after this, I remember I was lying on a table in one of those medical rooms and I was like dazed. I didn't really know what was going on and just kind of remember being in a lot of pain, like dazed mostly from being in pain. And I remember lying down and not being able to move. And then I remember this nurse came in. She had these blue eyes and blonde hair, and I had seen this nurse before at Cedars-Sinai. And I was like, whoa, that's so strange. That's the same nurse from Cedars-Sinai. And I remember she was one of the nurses that during one of my deliveries, she handed me the baby to breastfeed it. And she was also one of the nurses that was involved in many of these abductions too. There were usually similar faces when I'd go on the ship and see the same type of people. So I remember her coming in and she ended up taking some kind of tool that clipped, it was like a clip almost, like maybe like a tool, like with tongs and a clip, and she clipped a piece of skin off my knee real quick. And I remember that this was something that I guess that they were going to use to take a sample of my DNA and figure out maybe what my bloodline was, or DNA, or that's what it was. They wanted to test it or something like that. And then I remember it hurting, and I remember her like having an angry face and an attitude and being like, I shouldn't cry so much or something like that. Like, even though I was being tortured in a lot of pain. So it was pretty crazy. Yeah, so after that, there was another doctor that came in, and this doctor, once again, he looked like Chuck Schumer, like exactly like Chuck Schumer, and he had mentioned to me that all of my blood tests, all of my medical tests were going to be hidden by them, that was what was going on, that they were never going to tell me what was going on. I had suspected something was wrong with my adrenal glands, that was the issue, and he was like, how did you know? How did you know that was wrong? Like, basically, I guess he thought that I somehow psychically knew what was really wrong, and I guess that he was right, that I was right, that was what was really wrong, was something with my adrenal glands. And they were trying to hide this information from me. So basically, my medical records and hospital records are being criminally hidden. My blood tests are being hidden, and tests are being altered to look like everything is normal, while these people are doing things to my body, doing things to alter my blood tests, and they did all this stuff to also hide the poisonings that they had done to me, trying to murder me and stuff like that. So yes, so that is what happened with that. So so I basically can't get any proper medical care. I can't see a real doctor because all the doctors that they send are part of their alien reptilian medical team. So yeah, so that's part of that. So that was the type of testing, stimulation type of stuff that I dealt with. And there were several other ones, and I will be mentioning about those ones where I had that like put in this like virtual reality kind of stimulation type of things that was done a lot on the ship. I did look on ICAR, an alien research a website, and they did have information for what it is called when they do that to you, and I can't remember what the name was, but it's some kind of imaging or something, I don't know, where they're doing these stimulations to you to where you can, where they want to put you through whatever kind of stimulation to test and see mentally how you handle it or whatever. I guess it's called something, there's a specific name, and I'm going to try to find it. But yeah, so that is the video right there, and I'm going to go ahead and try to post more videos for you guys tomorrow. And if you have any questions, remember my email is in the description box. Thank you so much. Have a good day.